gentlemen, and anyone from Bulwark, good evening. Welcome to the Drill Hall, and welcome to 1953. We're putting on this evening to commemorate and perhaps celebrate our wonderful town, Chepstow's connection with the great Welshman writer, broadcaster, Dylan Thomas. I'm sure you all enjoyed that wonderful film in the 1970s of course, the 1950s play, Under Milkwood. And here we are in the pub in Chepstow. So you can smoke in 1953. So here we are, 60 years ago this weekend. We are putting on this evening because of a wonderful story. And the story is, I'll try and be as brief as possible. When Dylan passed away, New York, this very weekend, well, on the 7th of November, 1953, 60 years ago, his body was brought back to the United Kingdom, to Southampton, on the boat. There is a story that he arrived in a casket, one of these big American caskets. And as he arrived, an elderly gentleman, a hearse driver from Lampeter, was sent down to Southampton to pick up the body. It sounds like a Dylan Thomas short story itself. It's macabre, it's humorous, and it's very, very funny. And they brought the casket off the ship, and of course it wouldn't fit into this Welsh hearse. So they had to order another coffin very quickly, change over into the hearse, and off the hearse went, and the funeral cortege. It was decided they'd meet here in Chepstow, and of course, in those days, all the traffic to West Wales came through our wonderful town. But it didn't go quite according to plan. The cortege ended up in the pubs of Chepstow, but the driver from Lampeter took a wrong turning and ended up going down the southwest to Exeter with Dylan Thomas's body in the back. And all the friends and family ended up here in our town and spent probably 12 hours, possibly more, drinking, singing, and remembering their great friend and loved one. And that was 60 years ago. Tomorrow, the 24th of November, would have been, it's the day of the funeral, 60 years ago exactly. And of course, Under Milkwood is 60 years old this year. So we thought we'd commemorate and celebrate our connection with Dylan Thomas. So we're going to present for you a programme of readings, of songs, maybe sort of poems and pints, Chepstow 1953. This all started by Annie Rainsbury at Chepstow Museum, the curator of Chepstow Museum, was telling us about Winford Vaughan Thomas. Those of you who remember the great broadcaster and Welsh writer Winford Vaughan Thomas, who was at the funeral and told a wonderful story of this return journey, which of course is one of the titles of Dylan Thomas's great short story. You know, walk around. Please do join in with our singing and enjoy our evening return journey.
A Child's Christmas in Wales by Dylan Thomas. One Christmas was so much like another in those years around the Seatown corner, now and out of all sound, except the distant speaking of the voices I sometimes hear a moment before sleep, that I can never remember whether it snowed for 6 days and 6 nights when I was 12, or whether it snowed for 12 days and 12 nights when I was 6.
All the Christmases roll down toward the two-tongued sea, like a cold and headlong moon bundling down the sky that was our street. And they stop at the rim of the ice-edged, fish-freezing waves. And I plunge my hands in the snow and bring out whatever I can find. In goes my hand into that wool-white, bell-tongued ball of holidays, resting at the rim of the carol-singing sea. And out come Mrs. Prothero and the farmer.
Years and years ago, when I was a boy, and there were wolves in Wales, and birds the colour of red flannel petticoats whisked past the harp-shaped hills, when we sang and wallowed all night and day in caves that smelt like Sunday afternoons in damp front farmhouse parlours. And we chased with the jawbones of deacons, the English and the bears. Before the cars, before the wheel, before the Duchess-faced horse, we rode bareback daft over the daft and happy hills. It snowed and it snowed. But here, a small boy said,
"It snowed last year too. I made a snowman. My brother knocked it down, so I knocked him down. And then we had tea."
And I remember that we went singing carols once, when there wasn't a shaving of a moon to light the flying streets. At the end of a long road was a drive that led to a large house, and we stumbled up the darkness of the drive that night, each one of us afraid, each one of us holding a stone in his hand in case, and all of us too brave to say a word. The wind through the trees made noises as of old and unpleasant, and maybe web-footed men wheezing in caves. We reached the black bulk of the house. "What shall we give him? Hark the herald?" "No," Jack said. "Good King Wenceslas, I'll count 3. 1, 2, 3. And we began to sing, our voices high and seemingly distant in the snow-felted darkness round the house that was occupied by nobody we knew. We stood close together near the dark door. "Good King Wenceslas, look down, feast of Stephen, when the sun..." And then a small dry voice, like the voice of someone who has not spoken for a long time, joined our singing. A small, dry, eggshell voice from the other side of the door. A small, dry voice through the keyhole, and when we stopped running, we were outside our house. The front room was lovely. Balloons floated under the hot water bottle gulping gas. Everything was good again and shone over the town. Perhaps it was a ghost, Jim said. Perhaps it was trolls, Dan said. For he was always reading. Let's go in and see if there's any jelly left, Jack said. And we did that.